In this video, I will talk about a philosophical theory of language I have developed. I developed this kind of as a meditation on the matter to try to understand how things are. Just to be able to try and grasp what is really happening with language when you use it and when you define or redefine something. And I hope that this will be able to give some form of clarity to the viewer as well. And if anyone has any idea of to add to it, that something they think is wrong, that is, I'm happily discussing that with you, if that is of interest. So, first of all, I'm doing this as a consequence of talking to people because it seems to me that many people believe somehow that if, by meaning something, by referring to something in a certain way, or by giving a word a certain meaning, or by redefining a word, you are somehow controlling the fabric of reality. Like you're shaping or reshaping it, all as if we were gods. Which of course we are not. We are human beings, right? So, I want to go through what is happening when we use language. And to do that, I want to focus on three things. One thing I call a means of reference. Then I want to go through just what the definition is and what it does. And then what I call a point of reference. So with a means of reference here, the only thing I mean, it's a quite simple object and concept. I just mean what a means of reference is any means by which we are referring to another thing. So in other words, any word spoken or written down is a means of reference. Sentences as a whole, and of course any type of phrase at all would be a means of reference. So that's it. Think words, phrases, then you have grasped what I mean by means of reference. And pondering that for a second, we can understand that a means of reference in itself is 100% meaningless, right? Take the sound ball, right? A fairly common word to use, ball. Made up of the fixed set of sounds b, a, and u, ball. But that is just a set of sounds. You might as well say blö or glig or any other random set of sounds. They are inherently meaningless. Now we can say by glig, I mean a group of trees in Sweden. Any group of trees in Sweden is a glig. Now I have put meaning to them, and all of a sudden I can say that there are gligs in Sweden but not anywhere else, because I specifically refer to a set of trees, a group of trees in Sweden when I say glig, let's say. But glig in itself is just meaningless. It's just random sounds. And of course the same is true when you write things down. Write glig on a piece of paper and it's just as meaningless in itself as the set of sounds that I just said. Which also brings us then to the definition. Because the definition is what gives The definition is basically the description, what I am referring to with the means of reference, right? Like I just did as an example, I defined glig, and by defining glig, I gave it meaning. But it has no meaning in itself. It has to have this definition to have meaning, and the meaning is only amongst those that use or know to use the word with that definition, right? And same thing with ball, right? Let's say the definition of ball would be any spherical object. A spherical object is a ball. And what happens, of course, when you add a definition is that you describe what you are pointing at. In other words, by adding a definition, connecting a definition to a means of reference, you're adding a point of reference, something that the word points towards, like spherical objects or sets of trees in Sweden. So that's it. Those three things are kind of what you're using when you're speaking. You're using a means of reference, a definition, and a point of reference. And I want to point out that by changing the point of reference, let's say ball, let's change the definition of the word ball just for the sake of argument. Let's say that with ball, let's mean for a moment long, bent, yellow fruits. Now, so basically bananas. Now we are referring to something else. We have a different point of reference to the word ball, right? But what happened to the spherical objects? Well, nothing. We haven't changed a single thing. The only thing that it is to change the definition is to point somewhere else. That's it. We haven't changed anything with the fabric of reality by redefining a word. We're not gods. So I suppose that is it in its entirety. That we're just talking about stuff by using language. We're not making stuff. We're not changing stuff. We're not recreating something. We're not in any way in control of the fabric of reality. The ontological structure of things is completely out of our reach. To speak is to describe things, to converse about things. That's it.